All right, hello fourth grade math. This video is for the Thursday lesson of this week, so the final lesson of the week. We are obviously continuing long division. Today we're going to do something that I know I kind of demonstrated for you guys before we went on spring break, but that was so long ago. But once I start doing it, you might be kind of like, oh, I remember that. So sometimes when we are doing long division, the number that we're dividing by, so the number that's knocking on the door on the outside of the house, sometimes that number is bigger than the first digit that you see. So I'm going to show you what you do in that situation. So let's say I have 237, and I'm going to divide it by 5, okay? So we've been doing this. We've been doing 3 digits divided by 1 digit. It's still the same cycle of steps: divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. So start it the exact same way. We're not looking at the whole number. We're just looking at digit by digit. So when we ask ourselves, how many times can 5 go into 2? That's not possible, because 5 times anything doesn't make 2, because 2 is a smaller number. So when that happens, when it can't happen like that, what we do is we put a 0 up here. 5 can go into 2 0 times. It's not possible. From there, instead of looking at just the 2, we're going to expand the number to 23 so that we can do some division. So now, we still stick to the cycle. How many times can 5 go into 23? And that would be 4 times. So I'm going to put that 4 up above the second digit. Okay. What does 5 times 4 make? 20. Subtract. 23 minus 20 is 3. Bring down 7. Start all over with this new number. How many times can 5 go into 37? Can go in 7 times. What is 5 times 7? 35, subtract 2, nothing left to bring down. So our quotient, our final answer, is 47, remainder 2. So again, this didn't change any of the steps. It didn't change how you did it entirely. It's just that if you cannot divide this first digit by the outside digit, you put a 0 up above and then expand the number to be big enough to divide it. Okay? So let's do another one. Okay, I always erase those steps. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. All right, let's do 670 divided by 8. All right, start it exactly the same as we always do. Look at the first digit. How many times can 8 go into 6? Well, 8 is bigger than 6. It can't go into it, because 8 times 1 is 8, and that's too big. It goes over. So remember, if it can't do it, we put a 0 up above. 8 can go into 6 0 times, and then we're going to expand this. Instead of just looking at 6, we're going to look at 67. So we start all over. How many times can 8 go into 67? In this case, it can go in 8 times, because 8 times 8 is 64. If I did 8 times 9, that would be 72, and that's too big. Okay, so we're on our subtract step. 67 minus 64 is 3. Bring down, start all over with our new number. How many times can 8 go into 30? Well, if I said 4 times, 8 times 4 is 32. That's too big. So it must be 8 times 3. 8 times 3 makes 24. Subtract. You get 6. Nothing left to bring down, so that becomes the remainder. So when you write your final answer, your final quotient, in this case, it would be 83 remainder 6, because we don't put zeros in front. We have to put the 0, and then let me start that again. We have to put the 0 there while we're doing the work, because it's like acting as a placeholder. okay, so that we know we're working our way through the whole number. But just like with times when we've subtracted, you don't put a 0 in the very front of your number. So, okay, let's do another one. Let's do, I'll just make one up here. Let's do 723 divided by 8, okay? So, just like we always do, we start with the first digit. How many times can 8 go into 7? Well, it can't because 8 is already bigger than 7. So 8 can go into 7 0 times. Now I'm going to expand so that I can do my division. So how many times can 8 go into 72? And I just did this in the last problem. It can go in 9 times, which makes exactly 72. So then when I subtract, I get 0, bring down, start all over with our new number. Huh! When I go to do this now, watch what happens. How many times can 8 go into 3? Well, like up here, it can't. 8 is already bigger than 3. So if it can't go in, we're going to put a 0 again. There's nothing left to bring down. There's nothing left to expand, so that just became our remainder. It's a funny little problem, huh? So our final answer, 90, remainder 3. All right, one more. Try not to erase those again. Let's do 346 divided by 5, okay? Okay, how many times can 5 go into 3? Well, it can't because 5 is bigger than 3. So 5 can go in 0 times, expand the number, and start over. How many times can 5 go into 34? 5 can go into 34 6 times, which makes 30. So subtract. 34 minus 30 is 4. Bring down the 6. Start all over. How many times can 5 go into 46? Can go in 9 times, which makes 45. Subtract. 1. Nothing left to bring down. So our final answer, 69, remainder 1. Okay, so for today's assignment, I want you guys to just get the hang of this. So like we did earlier this week, you're going to do just a few problems today so that I can see how you're doing, and then next week we'll continue to do more practice with that. So your assignment for today is on page 231, and you're just going to do these first 8 problems up here. So as always, you can put them in your math notebook. You can either do the work right in with your answers. A lot of you are doing that. Some of you are doing your work on one paper and then having another paper be the answer sheet. Totally fine. But yeah, just 1 through 8 today so that we can kind of get the hang of it and I can see how you're doing with it before we move forward with more practice. All right. When you are done with your assignment, have someone take a picture of it and then just email it, text it, message it to me. All right, that's it for this week. Good job.